Today I'm going to be working on this little Korean hornbeam, which has grown out of its profile. A lot of these shoots are extending quite a bit, and they're out to, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, maybe 6 to 8 leaves, which is my goal for as far as I'd like this to get as it grows out. So it's grown out a little bit, and I'm going to clip it back now. I don't need to do any wiring right now. I'm just mainly focusing on a clip and grow technique. And I got to clip some of these pretty far back because this one, this particular one tends to cross itself quite a bit. So I'll get to snipping, and I'm also testing my new camera today. It's a GoPro style camera, and it's very different look. What I'm looking at is, more of a fisheye sort of look. So I'll just see how that goes for this. I'll get started here. Basically what I'm doing is I'm trimming some of these back to certain directions is the main thing I'm trying to do here. And this is really really fresh looking growth here. It is actually just extended enough for me to do this. Now sometimes I might let this go just a little bit longer. But I decided to go ahead and do it right now because I'm getting ready to stick this outside, and I'd also like to be able to spray it at the same time so I can make sure I get any bugs that are hiding in these little spaces that it has that are kind of hidden from everything. So looking at the undersides of these leaves, I don't see a whole lot going on for bugs, so that's good. This is a little bit bigger leaves than this Korean hornbeam has had in some previous years. And that's actually expected because I had just repotted it, and that gives it a whole lot of vigor as it adjusts to its new soil. I'd also trimmed it back quite a bit from last year. It was wide. It was probably a good 2 feet wide before. And since I put it in this little pot from Jana Glushach of IG Bonsai Ceramics, the root mass is actually quite a bit smaller, but it's all new soil in here. So it is responding pretty nicely. And basically I'm just trying to get it back into some nice form here. This has actually become one of the most fun trees that I have to work on because it responds so well to any of this trimming that I give it. This one has a really beautiful yellow color in the fall, in the autumn, which I really do like, and I think that's going to go really great with this dark colored pot. There's some of these smaller twigs that I'm not even really having to cut at all. Some of them just taking the tip off, the very end of it. Yeah, like I said, this is a really fun tree. It's also in a pot that I think is pretty neat. It's a glaze type coloring that Jana's gotten really good at, and I was really excited to be able to get a hold of this glazed pot here. It's pretty shallow, and this tree already had really shallow roots, and I also wanted to accentuate this kind of long and sinewy sort of trunk that it has. By reducing the big bushiness that this tree had and give it a little bit more airy type feel. I'm trimming with that in mind. that airy feel I'm going for. This tree was a tree that I had picked up for darn near next to nothing for a Korean hornbeam. The nursery that I picked it up from wasn't even sure what it was. So this was marked down to less than 20 bucks. Now in its current state it is pretty valuable to me. I really do like this tree in its current state. And I know it's going to develop into something really pretty unusual and something really enjoyable for me in my permanent collection. And today is a really dark and rainy day today. In fact, I wanted to get some videos going in here earlier, but it was loud. My greenhouse gets loud when the rain is falling super hard. So I decided, since it was loud and also dark from the rain, I would wait just a little bit. So I'm excited to get started on this little thing. Korean hornbeam has a look that's very similar to beech. These leaves look really a lot like a miniaturized version of a beech tree leaf. Really pretty neat little things. I'm going to have to watch it this year, seeing as how strong it is right now. If it's showing this much strength right now, it'll most likely continue to pop out these really big leaves. So I'll just keep an eye on it, make sure that I'm trimming back any of the overgrown leaves on it, and keeping the light going into some of these lower sections. Since I'm catching it relatively soon after it's really started to leaf out, a lot of these really vigorous stems are not really getting super thick yet. So it's going to continue to have a nice thin ramification on it. These new shoots are going to be nice and kind of even together instead of some of them growing super thick. And what I'm really doing here is I'm just kind of paying attention to where each one comes out, and I'm trimming back to a leaf that grows in the direction I want it to grow. So I'm pointing the leaf where I want the new bud to go. This tree also grows in a very angular way where it can go completely growing back in on itself. This is not something normal that I've seen for Korean hornbeams, but it is something that this one does quite consistently. Also got to look pretty far into some of these areas because Korean Hornbeam has a tendency to grow from well within it. And if I'm not looking pretty far into the junctions of branches, then I'm going to miss some of the ones that I need to get to. Another thing I'm doing is I'm kind of being a little bit slow with how I trim. I can always go back and trim more. And for right now, I'm trying to basically trim a little bit as I go, and then revisit it with another clip if I have to. Let's take a look at this. So, I've gotten most of the trimming that I want. It's opened up that area and kind of back into the profile originally had it. It's got some rounded edges on it, which I like. And in this new camera, it's got a different look I'm seeing on the screen, and that's always going to be the case comparing on-screen images to in-person images. The 3D aspect of seeing trees in person is just really so different than seeing something in a electronic image like this. Okay, I think this one's there. Now, this is in a round pot because I don't style my trees with the front, and the round pot allows me to do what I just did and show all the different sides of it. Now, some sides I do like more than other sides, such as the side that you're looking at right now is pretty good. And many years ago, I would have thought that was the front. But now that I don't style trees with the front, I'm enjoying a lot more of the tree. And also, I do pay a lot of attention to turning the tree around quite a bit. And I really get to see a lot of what the tree has to offer from multiple angles. You will continue to hear me say that a lot in many of my videos upcoming, and I've said it a lot in the past in my videos. That will continue to be something that I talk about. That's something that's actually really important to me to continue doing. Yeah, so there that is. Here's a little bit better shot of the trunk. It's got a cool little trunk on it. It is kind of narrow, and arguably this one could get chopped down quite a bit and show off that trunk a little bit more. But this is the look that I wanted to go for with it. So there you go. This is a Korean Hornbeam, just getting its first spring trim this year after being changed out to a smaller pot, growing really strong out of the proportions. And out of the proportions for me was about 6 to 8 leaves for this development stage. And then I've taken it back to anywhere from 2 to maybe 4 leaves on each one of those shoots that I trim back. And nice fresh growth, no bug problems to speak of. This one is ready for a year of growing. Exciting stuff. Thank you very much for being here to watch this, and I encourage you to check out my website, Bonsai Echo. You can watch the Be Inspired channel on there, BE Inspired, Bonsai Echo Inspired, where I have some other content, including a Scots pine that I recently finished a 3-part styling on. It is a lot of content on there, and there was, let's see, a repotting, some deadwood work, and then the branch styling was the most recent one for that tree. A lot of content building on that channel, including what I just talked about and some upcoming stylings of other trees that will not normally be on YouTube. So check that out. There's going to be a link coming up here at the end, and I hope to see you there as well. Thank you for watching.